Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the AEW Rampage review for the 10th of June 2022. Excalibur and Taz on commentary for this Rampage review. I wish Excalibur wasn't there. He's still a goof, but Taz at least has some professional credibility. Eddie Kingston defeats Jake Hager 11-24. Hager has to be one of the biggest name value talents with an upside that they've misused. But anyway, Eddie Kingston is awesome, and so he can easily be pushed in a good way. So Hager comes at him and uses his size early. Kingston tries to come back on the floor with strikes, but Hager nails knees into the midsection. Back in the ring, Hager slows the pace of the match down into a surfboard. Hager then tosses Kingston to the floor and suplexed him with... Then there's a plug for the Dominion show on New Japan. Why would a U.S. audience, primarily, care about a Japanese show that you've only been promoting for a few weeks? They won't. And at best, the ones that do aren't going to be in a position where they wouldn't have bought the pay-per-view anyway. Anyway, back in the ring, Hager continues dominance with forearms to the back for Kingston. Kingston tries to come back with more strikes, but then Hager cuts him off with a suplex. Hager works an arm bar for a bit. Kingston escapes and hits more strikes. And then there's a hard chop from Hager. Fires Kingston up, responding with chops of his own. And then a pair of boots. Hager cuts off Kingston. Comeback, overhead, belly-to-belly suplex. And the show goes to a split-screen commercial break. I hate split-screen breaks during matches. If you have to do them, end your matches first and or do promos or something during them. It's disrespectful to the talents who are risking their bodies on account of these commercial breaks. Anyway, Kingston catches Hager with an eye poke and a DDT. Kingston follows up with a clothesline in the corner and bunches of shots. Hager comes back with a mule kick and a Hager bomb for near fall. Hager goes for the gut wrench suplex. Kingston counters with an exploder and a backdrop suplex for a near fall. Kingston then goes for the spinning back fist. Hager ducks and dumps Kingston with an elbow and a takedown and then gets an ankle lock. Kingston gets a rope break out of the ankle lock. Hager then works over Kingston with punches in the corner. Kingston counters with a powerbomb out of the corner. Kingston then hits a pair of spinning back fists and gets the pinfall victory. Anyway, so Tony Schiavone interviews Dr. Britt Baker. She's upset with Toni Storm putting her hands on the World Women's Championship last Wednesday. Baker doesn't appreciate Storm trying to cut the line for title shot. Road to the women's titles goes through Baker, according to Baker. So they will have some sort of match. Anyway, Ortiz promo hyping the hair versus hair match on Wednesday. Anything involving Jericho is making me want to turn the channel or retch. Anyhow, so Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh with Sanjay Dutt defeats Danny Vega and Matt Fitch at 137. At least these independent guys get a little bit of television time. Singh does a bunch of big man stuff. He holds both opponents up for Jay Lethal to hit the lethal injection on both guys, getting the pinfall. After the match, Singh gives Fitch a helicopter crucifix bomb. Singh looks fine. Lexi Nair interviews Hookhausen. Danhausen does most of the talking. They bring new cards with their winnings from the pay-per-view. Good for them. This is enjoyable because Hookhausen, I honestly think, should be a tag team championship team within the next year. Chris Statlander defeats Red Velvet with the baddies. 7:49 of this aired. I do have to ask, 3 years later, what is Red Velvet supposed to be? She's a basically nondescript woman's wrestler who has no long-term value. Velvet tries to jump Statlander on the floor. She gets power slammed on the floor for her trouble. Statlander press slams Velvet back into the ring, hits a running knee, and sends Velvet back out to the floor. Statlander takes the fight to the floor. In front of the baddies, Velvet then tries to sleep her on the floor, but Statlander comes up and tosses her into the ring from the middle rope on the inside. Statlander goes for the delayed suplex. Velvet slides between her legs and clips her knee. Velvet then works over Statlander's knee and slows down with another break. Back from the break, Statlander hits a backbreaker and a Velvet gets shouldered in the corner. Blue Thunder Bomb from Statlander gets a near fall. Velvet counters an electric chair with a victory roll for a near fall. Statlander hits a German suplex out of the O'Connor roll and a Fisherman driver for a near fall as well. Velvet then catches Statlander with the knees into the back of the head and a Cutler off the middle rope opportunity. Velvet hits a hook kick for a near fall. Statlander hits the Saturday Night Fever, formerly known as the Big Bang Theory, for the win. After the match, Kiera Hogan jumped Statlander in the ring. Cargill caught Statlander with a pump kick, and Jay runs in and gets a sleeper on Hogan, but Cargill dumped them from the ring. Athena tries to run in, but officials hold her back. This just feels like a cluster mess for the sake of cluster mess. Promo from Miro and Ethan Page for Dynamite Wednesday. Lexi Nair interviews Ethan Page, who gives a pretty decent promo. Then we go to main event promo. Mark Henry asks Will Ospreay why he's in AEW. Ospreay says he's here to separate the sheep from the goats. Trent never liked Ospreay when he met him 6 years ago. FTR are two angry dudes and the real best tag team in the world. They're not here to play wrestlers. Mark Henry says it's time to go to the main event, but the main event lineup comes next. Chris Jericho and the Dynamite lineup comes next. Chris Jericho and Ortiz, hair versus hair. Wardlow versus 20 security guards in an elimination match. Miro versus Ethan Page in a qualifying match for the All-Atlantic 4-Way. And the Bucks versus Hardys versus Jurassic Express in a ladder match for the World Tag Team titles. Why do we have ladder matches on free TV? Why do we have gimmick matches every week? It's horrible booking. Anyway, Trent Beretta and FTR, why are they teamed together? Defeating Will Ospreay and Aussie Open Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, 13:59. If not for FDR in this, I wouldn't be a fan. And the good news is there's only one dive on the entire program, and that belongs to Will Ospreay, which does at least make some sense. Dax Harwood and Will Ospreay start out, and they have a great sequence. Then Wheeler gets the tag and takes Ospreay down with a shoulder block. Ospreay nips up. Ospreay then makes tag to Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. Wheeler then gets caught in the corner and overpowered. Mark Davis takes over, and then Beretta gets tagged, gets chopped to the mat by Davis. Then Ospreay gets a tag and hits a Tornado DDT. Aussie Open run in and get clotheslined to the floor by FTR. Beretta and Ospreay hit Ospreay with an Asai moonsault, but tweaks his ankle on the landing. Beretta gets caught up in the rope, and we go to a split screen break, which again I don't like. Beretta backdrops Ospreay and then hits Fletcher with an enziguri. Davis ducks and enziguri lands on Beretta with a senton for near fall. Beretta dodges a running drop kick in the corner. Fletcher lands on in the back of his head. Beretta then gets the tag to Harwood and then takes off both members of the Aussie Open with suplexes. Harwood hits Ospreay with a short arm clothesline. Harwood then hits 3 rolling German suplexes on Fletcher. Wheeler hits a powerbomb on Fletcher for German suplex on Hayward in a jackknife cover. From Wheeler on Fletcher for near fall. A decent enough series. Wheeler catches Ospreay with an atomic drop. Aussie Open hits a cutter on Wheeler, and Ospreay follows up with a 450 splash for near fall. Ospreay hits the Oz cutter for another near fall. Wheeler hits a runner on Fletcher and gets tagged to Beretta. Beretta hits a backdrop suplex and a lariat on Fletcher. Beretta then goes for a slingshot plancha. Back in the ring, Beretta hits the strong zero on Fletcher and gives the surprise pinfall. Not a fan of a guy like Ospreay, who's supposed to be one of the best in the world, being pinned, but hey, whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, I really still feel this is amateur booking, but Tony Khan is trying, and ultimately, with only 3 years experience, he's going to make mistakes, but fanboying out, probably not best for a multi-million-dollar project. We'll be back with more right after this.